Wait. You don't have to do this. All right, maybe you do. Honestly, it's kind of surreal, you guys. Can you believe it's been 20 years since the first X-Men movie? 20 years.
Not judging by Hallie.
Oh, you're not so bad yourself, Professor.
And Famke's making me think that I should have dressed up a little bit more. What's that? Hang on.
Knock, knock. Whoa, so many stars. Was that Ian McKellen?
Ryan, the cast and I were all just reminiscing about the movie that we were all in together.
I hear you. You know, I love that movie. I hope it's okay if I join. I figured we were all in X-Men together.
X-Men Origins.
Yeah, always good seeing you, Ryan.
I actually invited a few others.
Hey, guys.
Hey, everyone.
So many timelines. It's like a recap of Knots Landing.
2 professors, 1 cup.
What's happening?
It's just like the X-Men movies. You know, it doesn't matter.
Oh, sorry. I actually thought this was the Game of Thrones reunion.
You know, Tyrion Lannister was in an X-Men film.
Okay, bye.
I actually have a James Bond reunion soon now.
Oh, God. Me too.
Split reunion.
Star Trek.
I love you, Patrick Stewart.
Okay, bye, everyone.
That fell apart quickly. Ooh. Guess it's just you and me, Logan.
I guess so.
You know what that makes this a reunion for?
X-Men Origins reunite. Yeah.
How's it going, guys? It's Dylan from Anything Super, and in this video, we'll be answering all of your questions related to the Marvel Studios Wolverine movie. We'll cover all that you need to know. If you're new, be sure to subscribe with notifications so you stay up to date with all the latest MCU news. People are wondering if Hugh Jackman is going to return as Logan or as Wolverine in Marvel Phase 4. There's a ton of rumors always going around about him coming back to play the character one last time. So let's break it down and think about if he's going to return and when that would be. Let's dive right in. There's this famous interview that people will bring up, so it's an important quote to look at. This is what Hugh said a few years ago about possibly returning as Wolverine. "I knew it was the right time for me to leave the party, not just for me, but for the character," Jackman said. "Somebody else will pick it up and run with it. It's too good of a character not to. It's kind of like you're on your way home and your friend rings you and goes, 'Oh dude, a new DJ just came on and the music is awesome. Are you going to come back?' And you say, 'Sounds good, but no, they're fine with someone else.'" You can definitely hear the reluctance in his voice. He's played the character for years and years. There were 9 movies that he starred in as Logan. A lot of people don't know this. Even with the Fox Marvel deal going through, he appeared in nearly 10. Hugh Jackman was in the 7 X-Men movies that were made by 20th Century Fox. Then he appeared in the 2013 Wolverine film, as well as in Logan. Now that might be the last we see of him, but there is a scenario where he comes back. Be sure to wait until the end for the full explanation. If you've been looking at recent interviews and the relationships in Hollywood, it really does look like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have a great friendship going on. Originally, it was played as some sort of rivalry, but they are just great friends who both played Fox Marvel heroes or anti-heroes. They are also both Canadians, so they have that to bond over as well. Let's put a pin in that and come back later, because it's really important. The main problem in the logistics of Hugh Jackman reappearing as the character would be his age, because he is getting up there, and Marvel typically likes to go with the younger crowd when casting their heroes, so they can have them on a contract for many years at a time. That's what they like to do. They like to start them when they're a little bit younger, so that they have many years to grow them as a character, and give them full character arcs. Plus, it gives them time to create a full-on franchise around them. Just like how they said in Deadpool 2, "We're gonna form a super-duper group. We need them tough, morally flexible, and young enough to carry their own franchise for 10 to 12 years. They literally made a joke about it. So are we going to see Marvel Studios or Kevin Feige try to cast Hugh as the Wolverine in Phase 4, 5, or 6? Probably not. I am going to give that an unlikely chance of happening. The only scenario where Marvel Studios brings him back in where it's maybe as some sort of older version of Logan who is just appearing as a cameo, where he passes down the mantle to the new Wolverine. Another theory has the new Wolverine that we see in a few years simply go to his grandfather's house, and the grandfather turns out to be Hugh Jackman, like a real cameo scene. But he is getting up there in age, and Marvel on the younger cast more now. But even if they don't do this cameo thing, based on the fact that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are such great friends, I wouldn't put it past them to have him return in Deadpool 3 for some sort of guest appearance. This is what I meant about their friendship earlier. Hear me out. They talked about wanting to do this crossover between Deadpool and Wolverine, and it could look really cool. Like a Deadpool versus Wolverine thing that they did in the comics a few times. And you know the Deadpool movies like to get creative and crazy with their ideas. One of the ideas for Deadpool 3 was shockingly, Deadpool kills the MCU. We talked about this potential plot leak in an older video, which obviously they can't do now because they're going to bring Deadpool into the MCU officially, no joke. This is how they could do it. They're starting to create this new multiverse, and they're starting to set up that in Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man 3, and they'll have the Scarlet Witch probably break that open in Multiverse of Madness or No Way Home. And what could happen is maybe, when audiences start accepting the fact that a multiverse is existing and people can really wrap their minds around it, Deadpool 3 releases and they have a multiverse version of Wolverine where you get to see Hugh Jackman come back. It's just for fun and just to bond with Ryan Reynolds on screen. Maybe they have a fight or they have a massive team up or perhaps some epic adventure. A ton of fans would love that it would be easy to explain because it's going to be a multiverse scenario. Since phases 4, 5, and 6 are probably going to be about exploring different realities, having the Hugh Jackman version of Logan team up or be seen in Deadpool 3 could make sense and work out. Dealing with a cinematic universe is going to be a huge organizational project, but the way the MCU is heading could tie in perfectly. Deadpool 3 is going to be a wacky enough movie, and it's in a wacky enough of a franchise where the satire and the comedy will help let it make sense in a fan's mind. Plus, it would just be cool to see him finally return to the role after so many years. It'll probably be like 2024 or 2025 by the time that Deadpool 3 gets released, which is insane. I mean, if you look at Deadpool 1 and 2 came out at a 2-year difference in release date, but just because of the Fox and Disney merger. Remember Disney bought Fox a few years ago. It's really slowing down production. Plus, Deadpool is actually officially going to join the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Kevin Feige is planning for that, so it just takes a few years to really fit that all in with the whole schedule and slate of Marvel Phase 4, Phase 5, and Phase 6. So, is Hugh Jackman going to be the main Wolverine in the MCU? The answer is no. Well, at least that's my prediction. It's all based on the interviews we've seen and the patterns for Marvel in the past. It is super unlikely that he was going to be the main Logan in the future. There's a small chance he returns in a cameo role as a grandfatherly figure or an older Wolverine, but our guess would be that he shows up in Deadpool 3 to team up with Wade Wilson and have some fight, scene, or maybe it'll be the whole movie. We do not know yet, just based on their friendship and the fact that Deadpool could exist in the multiverse. Depending on how they're going to introduce him in it, this could make sense and would be just the type of movie that fits with the idea. Just like they did with WandaVision, how Quicksilver showed up because that was just a weird enough wacky show and it was great, but it was out of this world. Meaning that audience could sort of wrap their heads around this X-Men Fox version of Quicksilver suddenly being there in this comedic way. It didn't take you out of the show. It probably made you love the show even more, till that Ralph twist at the end. Well, it's the same thing here. WandaVision was creative enough that it worked, and Deadpool 3 can work even when they have an X-Men actor come back in the same role. It just fits with these funny, insane properties. Even if it's only for a scene, or maybe just a huge third act final fight. But it would probably make sense in the minds of the fans. And since they're such great friends in real life, Wolverine will probably come back for the third Deadpool movie. We think it's the most likely outcome for Hugh's return. But if you're wondering about the new actor that will replace him, it might not even be Daniel Radcliffe. That's all just fan casting. Same with the Emily Blunt Sue Storm deal. So we don't know who is going to be the main Wolverine going forward. But even though that might be a little sad to hear the chances that Hugh Jackman comes back officially in a major role. I also don't think Ryan is going to pass up the opportunity to work with Hugh again, especially on such a cool crossover idea. What do you guys think about this? And do you think Hugh is done with the role as well? Or do you think that he'll show back up in Deadpool 3? Or do you think we're just completely off the mark on this one? That's all I have for you guys today. If you're new, remember to slam the subscribe button because whenever new information comes out, we'll be reporting it. Also, feel free to follow me on Twitter at SuperAnything for all the latest updates right when the news breaks. See you all very soon. This has been Dylan from Anything Super.